Hello, everyone. Picture this. You're running a full-speed race that never ends. And the roads keep changing. One time it's smooth, next time it's uphill. Suddenly, new runners join in, and they are faster and stronger. And just when you think you know the rules, they change right in the middle of the race. Sounds exhausting? That's exactly what e-commerce feels like these days. Costs are rising, advertising, shipping, warehousing, and even cost per customer acquisition is more expensive than ever. Consumer behavior is changing. What worked yesterday doesn't work today. Hello? So, how do you break through? How do you succeed even in days like this? The keyword as a solution could be technology, but it's not. Or it could be the people, but it's not. Because it's how you bring people and technology together. And Notino knows that. Notino isn't just keeping up, they are winning. And today, we are going to expose how they do it. Real strategies, real use cases, no bullshit. Let's dive in. My name is Petra, I'm a CEO of Dotidot, and today I represent the technology. And here with me, Ksenija and Angelika, they're representing their people using the technology.
Thank you, Petra, for your vivid introduction. Now, I would like you to imagine your favorite scent and send it online. Sounds crazy, right? But a few decades ago, selling perfumes online may sound like a crazy idea. But here we are today, when so many things that is almost impossible are parts of our everyday life. In Notino, we believe that with bringing right people and technologies together, anything could be possible. Notino journey started in 2004 as Perfume CZ, when selling perfume was online was almost unheard of. But it worked. And it worked so great that Notino expanded not just our product selection, but also our reach into 28 countries across Europe, generating 1 billion turnover in 2023.
Dotidot is a solution established 10 years ago. We stand on three major pillars. One part is feed management. It's a backbone of every automated campaign and success. Then, once you have your data well prepared, you can think about your strategy and its execution. So what products and where to advertise, thanks to product selection and product strategies. And then once you have your data, you have your product strategy selected, then you need to automate it to reduce the manual work. And that's what we are stand for.
Now I would like to tell you a few words about how it all started at Notino, from a simple idea to where we stand right now in 28 markets. It has been a really long journey, but it was focused on advanced technologies and collaboration with people who helped us to grow. As you can see, first, yes, initial expansion of Notino was mainly into countries which were locally geographically and culturally close. Like this, it was quite easy to enter those markets. But the year 2017, it was really a turning point for Notino because we entered 9 new markets within 1 year.
Okay, I have to ask. I can see the Dotidot. So in 2016 and 17, you started with Dotidot. Great success. However, what happened next apart from Dotidot solution?
Well, it was a very important year for Notino because it was the year of complete rebranding of Notino, when Notino became itself, plus advanced technologies. So this helped us to enter so many countries within 1 year.
Notino nowadays has over 2,500 employees, each contributing to our growth and success. But today, I would like to shine a spotlight to one particular team, mine of course, digital ads performance team, experts behind our always-on campaigns, doing their best that we ensure that we reach to our customers through all digital platforms. Notino online marketing activities are mainly managed by 2 dedicated teams. First team specialized in YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, crafting a creative content to engage with our customers. And second team focused on Google Ads, Microsoft Ads, and S-Click, optimizing our presence on search engines to ensure that we reach to our customers during their all buying journey. Digital ad performance team has 2 team leaders and 12 specialists, each with expertise in all 3 platforms. Every specialist is responsible for 2 or 3 countries, ensuring that they are doing the best to bring the best possible results for Notino while maintaining unified campaign structures across all markets. Sorry?
The main strength of our team is, first of all, our multinational and multicultural character. In our team, we have at least 5 people who belong to different nationalities, and on the overall, we cover 13 languages. But with advancing of AI technologies, we have started using it actively also together with the languages we know. But I will talk about it a bit later in detail.
One of key for succeed in new markets is high-quality market research. Understanding local preferences, behaviors, and trends enabled Notino to create the strategies and offering to meet the needs of each market. For example, in our market analysis, we usually focus on things like how many people are shopping online and what are the average order value. These metrics could help us to adjust our revenue expectation and also estimate our budget needs. For example, delivery speed is also very important. If research shows that customers demand faster delivery, we need to decide whether to look for another options of delivery or even accept a higher price for a customer acquisition with slower delivery, or even consider opening a warehouse in new location. Sometimes it could also lead to the decision not to enter the market at all. Language, of course, is very important when you're entering a new country. For example, in the UK, there is a significant minority of Polish-speaking people. So we tried to test to add a modification on website for Polish language, but it didn't increase our sales. So sometimes testing is needed. Ultimately, market analysis is not just about gathering the data, but it's to use this data to make smarter decisions.
Competition can be a very strong barrier to entering a new market. So before we decide if we enter this particular market, we analyze the competition situation in this market. Because if it is saturated and crowded with competitors, it may lead to higher cost per click and higher advertising costs. So we see that if advertising costs are much higher than possible revenues, that maybe we reconsider entering this market. Or maybe on the contrary, we just decide to change our strategies. Another important thing in market analysis process is to research local regulations. We need to learn the information about taxes and possible advertising restrictions.
Also, another important factor is economic environment. For example, countries like Albania or Montenegro may have low competition, but which may seem like attractive opportunity for expansion, but when we dig deeper into data, we may find out that there is low online purchase rates or even high unemployment rates or maybe low credit card ownerships, which is very crucial for e-commerce players, so it could be very risky to enter these kind of markets. Now let's look to another significant insight we can gather from market analysis. For example, payment methods. If customers prefer cash on delivery, we often see that it leads to the higher rate of order returns, which may impact our profitability and also logistics. Another important thing is internet coverage. So if you enter a new market, you need to make sure that there is a high quality internet coverage in that location. Also, similar market conditions are very useful. If you can enter a market with similar condition, it is easier to predict your performance. For example, in past, we entered the market in US as beauty spin, but these conditions were so different that it led us to exit the market. So market analysis can't assure you that you will succeed on new market, but it can prevent you from failing in this kind of scenario.
We work closely with Google partners. It's very important for us because they can provide us with different reports, data reports with valuable information, valuable numbers. Now let us take a closer look at how we launch a new country. What is this process about and what we start with? The first thing for us is consider is opening a new warehouse. Usually we don't do it, and at the beginning we try to use the warehouses we already have in different other markets. And it helps us to reduce costs, and we don't need any extra investments for that. Second step is analyzing and learning information about legislation. For example, if VAT registration is needed or electronic invoicing is needed, or there are some special policy or advertising discount regulations. Then S4, starting advertising campaign. First, we look at main metrics. This is the main first step. We analyze cost per click, click-through rate, and then we have search volume evaluation. The second step is calculating the necessary monthly budget. Then, based on these two steps, we can define the minimal rows monthly. As I've already mentioned, we use a lot of Google reports, and I would like to show you one of the reports we use on regular basis. Here on this particular report, we can see advertiser benchmarks. So there are numbers for top advertisers, top tier advertisers, medium ones, which are strong advertisers but are not top tier, and long tail advertisers. Why these metrics and numbers are so important for us? They help us to assess where we stand now in the auction and what we should do to succeed, if we need to change our strategies, if we need to better optimize our advertising campaigns.
To maximize our impact and reach when entering new country, we usually prepare all campaigns in advance. And by this I mean like shopping campaigns, PMAX campaigns, search campaigns, etc. And then we launch them all at once in one day. While this may seem like a lot of work, it could be provided very quickly when you have skilled people and efficient tools. But you have to have in mind that it's very important to have a high-quality data feed, because without high-quality data feed, even the best campaign cannot bring you the desired results. So with efficient tools and skilled team, you can move from planning to acquisition just in 3 days, or even less.
Let me tell you a few words about localization and how we work with a lot of languages. So we have the so-called campaign localization checklist. We have two types of campaigns. First, campaigns are like bigger ones for some big events such as Christmas or Black Friday. So here we ensure consistent translation of all text and captions, and translation matches the brand tone for a consistent message across markets. The second type of campaigns is a specific weekly promo campaigns, like for example, last week we had a campaign for Saint Valentine, or some other smaller events. So for these smaller campaigns, specialists create tasks for cases requiring specific language skill, and this ensures quick and accurate translations for all campaigns, including ad hoc. Why is it so important for us that our digital ad specialists also speak so many languages? What are the benefits? The main benefit is that it saves us a lot of time. Then it can help us to identify mistakes, and it helps us to fasten search term evaluation. But what could be disadvantages of not knowing the languages? First of all, we would have to rely on our language team, and we would have to wait for these translations to be ready. Sometimes it can take for up to weeks. And it would, of course, slow a search term evaluation, and it will lead to slower content creation. And the very crucial point is inability to detect mistakes. And if we had some mistakes or inaccuracies in our text for our advertising campaigns, it would be just very bad for the brand. As I've mentioned before, that we have started also using AI technologies, for example, ChatGPT, which I personally regularly use for creating text for our weekly promo campaigns. Here you can see an example of Notino advertisement in Greek language. Why have I chosen this particular language? Because In my opinion, it's quite specific. Maybe it would be more interesting to look how ChatGPT managed to deal with this task in this language, not in English or German or Spanish. Here is an example of prompt, which I usually write for ChatGPT to create translations. Act like you are an experienced Google Ads professional. I want to create Google Ads for weekly promo. We have a Valentine's Day discount of 15% on perfumes and home fragrances with the code Valentine for you when you shop them over 10 euros. Generate some effective ad headlines with maximum 30 signs and descriptions with maximum 90 signs. Use Greek language. Okay, here is the result. I personally don't speak Greek, so I cannot read it for you. But in a team, we have a person who is very fluent in Greek, and when I showed him the result of the translation, he immediately spotted a couple of inaccuracies. Okay, maybe these are not very rude mistakes, but still, it would be much better if we combined and technologies and human knowledge of the languages, so we can avoid them, and that we can have totally correct text in our advertising campaigns.
Notino campaign structures in online activities are mainly aimed for reaching to customers during all their buying journey. So whether they are just in searching phase or even already have a purchase intent, for example, if customer is searching for specific product, we want to show him a landing page with details of this specific product to skip unnecessary step before putting this product into a cart. But when he is searching for more generic terms like brand terms, we want to show him a brand page to build a brand awareness and encourage him in exploring our product range. And tools like Dotidot come handy again because it makes us able to create this kind of structure even for thousands and thousands of products in our portfolio easily.
And landing pages that were mentioned by Angelika on the previous slide are the crucial part of quite complex Notino's campaign structure. On the left side on the slide, you can see the campaign structure that reflects the shopping intent of customers, or let's call it shopping funnel. So it goes from the up, from the most generic keywords to the most precise one, aka long tails. As Angelika said, broader keywords has a higher search volume. On the other side, there can be lower conversion rate. With the more precise keywords as the product names, for example, the conversion rates goes up, so it's more efficient. However, even such a branded keywords or combination with brand plus type or brand plus collection are really crucial part of the campaign structure because Notino knows how to turn this traffic of users that aren't ready to buy yet in future customers. Such a structure is replicated through all markets of Notino. And that's possible because of Dotidot automation and because of feed. You can view or picture feed or XML or CSV feed as kind of dynamic database that reflects changes on the website and holds essential information such as price, availability, on even product and category names, obviously URL links to those landing pages. So once you have your feed, you can automate your structure. We covered campaign structure, automated generation of keywords. However, to activate the campaign, we are still missing one piece of puzzle, and those are the ads. So do you remember the XML feed, the alpha and omega? Then there is the next step to create your ad text, for example, for classic search within Google or Microsoft right now. So based on dynamic variables inside of your data source, you can put them as a field, dynamic field into your template. So Notino, for example, uses dynamic information such as brand, product name, price, or even discount and availability and image into this template. So because of these options, Notino is able to cover all categories, all landing pages, just like that, just within a couple of clicks. and not just through every country of Notino, but even through the multiple paid channels such as Google or Microsoft.
When it comes to our product selection, availability of product in different countries basically depends on two factors. First is stock availability in the local warehouse, or it could be local law restrictions when it comes usually to the segment of healthcare. We have also want to highlight the products with discount, and Dotidot again comes handy to us because it allows us to sort our products based on promotion, margin groups, or even performance of the product. For example, Dotidot automatically enable or post our products based on our data we provide into feed. For example, it could be the stock availability in the local warehouse.
Every week we have special promo campaigns. And for such changing promo campaigns, with the help of Dotidot, we can use special dynamic variables which help us to customize headlines and descriptions for our ads. And what is really great and saves us a lot of time is that we can put this customized headlines and description in one campaign, and automatically it gets uploaded to all the campaigns in our account, which is really great and efficient.
Occasionally, we are in fortunate situation that we are having in portfolio brands exclusively. By this, I mean that we are the only one seller in the country with these offerings. In these cases, our strategy shifts because we do not want to promote this product or brand. Why? It could be exclusivity itself, or maybe brand is promoting this product by their own, so we don't need to run a promotion. In these cases, again, Dotidot could help us and turn on or off campaigns or even specific products when we need it. It could be made automatically with data in feed, or we can create a manual conditions for that to access it very quickly.
In our advertising process, we mostly use margin group strategy. How we came to this? Once we started running a campaign which seemed to be quite successful, and we had some revenues, it also was also quite positive. But when we deep dived into the data, we saw that with every purchase, we actually were losing money. Why was it so? Because we were focused on low margin products. And for us, it was like a wake up call. So we started focusing more on high margin products and continue with this to have three separate groups of products with high margin, medium margin, low margin, and have separate strategy for all these three groups of products.
So I like to be practical, so I'll show you how you can do this as well and pretty easily, how you can execute these strategies. So again, Alpha and Omega is your data source. So the left side are the basics. These are things that are usually already included in your data source if you are the e-commerce player. Then on the right side of the slide, there are enriched data. So connection of new sources that will elevate your data source and your advertising strategies to be the competition. So, for example, you can call it your Google Sheet. That can consist such information as a promo text like Valentine's Day, or the information about product or even categories margin. Or connection of Google Ads can and will ensure you that you will have a data about cost on the product level. Then once you connect, for example, Google Analytics, you have a number of purchases on the product or even category level, and even purchase value. Once you have this data, you can even calculate your own fields, dynamic fields. So again, you will receive after that information about cost per acquisition or ROI. So once you have this elevated data, you can decide what to do automatically. So you remember the Valentine's Day as a promo text in your internal data, in your internal Google Sheet. Once you have it and you have such a promo, what's enough for you is just to rewrite the text, and the text will be written and show up in all of the ad texts of yours, or in this case, in Notino, within each country and multiple channels. Same as with the CPA. Is the CPA of the product or even category too high? Let's set up automated rules and pause the campaigns when this situation occurs. Or even the margin selection. Once you have your margin, let's filter your products, split them into different campaigns, and allocate your budget more precisely. So, let's sum it up. Today's line or message is related to a combination of people and technology. We covered how Notino succeeds in terms of right mix of channels for the performance marketing. We know what team size is necessary for 28 countries and what's the structure of the team. We know how important for Notino, and even I believe for you, is to have a proper market research to even exclude some countries from your expectations. We understand the process of launching not just a new country, but even performance campaigns. We know what are the crucial part or crucial product strategies of Notino for a best ROI, and that is the technology, obviously. So, at the beginning, I told you about the race that keeps changing. And it's not easy to win. However, there is a way. And Notino is a proof. Don't give up, guys. We are going to succeed. Let's use Dotidot, obviously. And thank you for your attention. You can visit us even at the Hall 7, booth F4.1. We will be there even for some chit-chat. And thank you all.
So how big has a company need to be to work with Dotidot? It's like you only work with big companies, or you also work with companies, for example, that are starting and they want to go, to go international, go to other countries, but they don't have like these big sales yet. So can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, there is not such a limit. However, there is a recommendation that if you are a smaller company, SMB or something like that, usually it's better to go with an agency, because agency can handle the budget for Dotidot, for example, and they know how to use the solution as well. Because we are not the agency, we are the solution provider. So if you have an agency, and it doesn't mean that you need to pay a fortune to the agency, but still, some kind of services. So that's the best way if you are not too big or not big enough, for example, to afford solutions like Dotidot.